So first of all, guys, I just gotta say this. I'm super excited about making this video because basically, I don't know what it is about guys and cars, but we just love cars overall. And I thought I was one of those guys that did not love cars until I got inside of a fast car and I was like, yo, I need a fast car. And that's how I feel. Now, because I'm in the finance world, in the money world, I can't be an idiot with my money. So I did a lot of research and I found out that the worst thing to possibly do is to buy a brand new model. You always want to look 3 to 5 years back, get a used model for a big discount because cars have a massive depreciation curve that tends to happen in the first 3 to 5 years. Meaning, if you buy a 5-year-old model, you save so much money. So in this video, I'm telling you guys basically what my dream cars basically are and exactly how much I can basically buy them for now at a massive discount. And then towards the end of this video, I'm gonna tell you exactly what I see my next car actually being for the foreseeable future. I'll tell you guys that at the end of the video. But also, comment down below and let me know exactly what is your favorite car? What is your dream car? Your favorite car you can possibly get, and then your dream car. We all know it's different, but just have some fun and comment down below. Now, I gotta say something. I am not a mechanic. What I am is a car enthusiast all of a sudden now, okay? But a mechanic will tell you, Tommy, stop doing this whole luxury thing. It makes no sense. They're expensive to fix. You might as well just go, for example, with a Toyota Avalon or a Honda Civic. These are great cars also, and they don't cost a bunch of money, okay? So that's just stupid, and you don't need that much power. But I'm here to tell you, I'm not here for the good advice, okay? I'm just here to have some fun and to show you guys exactly how crazy these cars lose value and how you can buy at a massive discount if you can still buy. Now, there is one last rule I gotta tell you guys about. I have something called the 10% rule, meaning that whatever the next car I buy is, it cannot be more than 10% of my net worth. So in order for me to afford a $100,000 car, I gotta be worth $1 million. $200,000, I gotta be worth $2 million. $30,000, I gotta be worth $300,000. Okay, so that's my ideal. That's my rule. That's what I follow because I'm not gonna put money into something that burns my money if I don't have that much money. That's the idea. As always, guys, like this video and top out. Also, subscribe and hit the bell so you get notified. Now, the very first car, guys, I have everything right now on my phone, is going to be the Bentley Bentayga. This car right now, the 2023 model. By the way, this car is just spectacle. It is beautiful. I just love the design, the interior, the leather, the infotainment, the infotainment system. I love the whole thing, and it is a fast car and it's powerful. Right now, if I were to go ahead and try to buy the new model, it would cost me anywhere from $163,000 for the base model, all the way up to $263,000 for the upper model. Now, overall, this car can go from 0 to 60 in less than 4 seconds. That's crazy. This car is absolutely gorgeous. However, okay, if we do some common sense here and we do some math and we say, Tommy, let's look at the 5-year-old model or the 6-year-old model. So if we go all the way back to 2017 to 2018, what we find out is that back in 2017, okay, the model used to cost around $231,000. That is a lot of money, okay? But today, in today's age, which is 2020, what is it, 2023? 2023, okay, we can basically go ahead and buy this car between $90,000 to $120,000. That is that's a big difference from $231,000. It's over it's a lot of money in savings. Now, by the way, tell me, what about the mileage? Well, the mileage rule that I've kind of figured out is basically you want to do whatever the year is, okay? So basically, every year, assume you get the average miles of about 12,000 miles per year. So basically, if we're talking about buying a car that's 6, 7 years or 5 years, well, 5 times 12,000 miles, that makes it 60,000 miles, or 6 times 12,000 miles, that makes it, for example, what is it called? 62,000 miles, right? So that's the idea. So just average it out. So 12,000 miles per year times the amount of years, okay? And then that way you get the average miles you're looking for. But again, some cars are more reliable than others, and you can get away with getting, for example, more miles on it as long as it is reliable. But yeah, $90,000 is a big difference from $231,000, okay? It's still a lot of money, and in my book, you gotta be worth at least $900K to be able to buy this car. And by the way, I only buy cars in cash, so that's one car. Now, number two, guys, I had this car literally on my wall. On my wall, okay? That is the Lamborghini Urus. What a vehicle. What an absolute monster. Now, it's crazy, and I don't know exactly what made me love this car, if it was like the rappers having the car, and I've seen one in person before. I've never been inside of one, but the car is just absolutely gorgeous. And to buy the new model right now, it would cost somewhere like about $230,000, and that is a lot. With that much money, I could buy a rental property that makes me $1,800 a month. So it's like, do I want to have an expense, or do I want to have a property that cash flows? And it's like, you know, the smart thing to do, the dumb thing to do. And we always skew to the dumb thing, but here on this channel, we stick to smart things, okay? So let's stick here. But overall, I've been waiting years for this, because when it first came out, I was like, it just came out like, I think it was like 2019 or so. I was like, wait 5 years, Tommy, let's see what happens, okay? It's been, now we're at the 5-year mark, and here's what we've learned, okay? The 5-year mark, you can actually buy this car right now, right? This car right now, when it came out, the MSRP price was around like $203,000 for the 2019 model. And right now, if you bought it, you can buy it between $190,000 to $200,000. You're like, Tommy, how is that possible? Like, where is the depreciation we're talking about here? The answer is it's non-existent. Lamborghinis tend to hold up their value, especially when it's something like this, because everyone's so excited about it. But it's not to say like in the next 5 years, it will still be holding up their value. That's very unlikely. But right now, that is the case. And that is what's happening, because it's such a killer car and people just love it overall. Now, in all honesty, for me to buy this car, I gotta be worth $2 million, which I'm not yet. So I'm not buying this car. It makes absolutely no mathematical sense, at least in my book. But it is a beautiful car. Now, number three, guys, is going to be the Tesla Model X. I also had that one on my wall, okay? Now, these cars are beautiful, and Elon has done a great job not making you feel like if you have an old model, you look like you're just driving like a 1995 like Toyota Camry. You don't feel like that, because basically all the cars have the same chassis overall, okay? So you kind of feel like, oh, it's whatever. Like, it doesn't really change that much, except for example, the actual performance of the car. And even then, we haven't really seen some crazy changes. So right now, if I were to buy a Tesla Model X, that's the one that was the Falcon doors that basically go up, which is pretty cool. I would pay around $122,000 to $140K for the plaid version, or the plaid version, whatever you want to call it, okay? But overall, that car is, I don't really like the whole steering wheel, because it is like a new feature or whatever, and I'm not used to driving a car where it's like that, like a yoke or whatever. But overall, the car is just spectacular. I have written, for example, before a Tesla Model 3, and it was a new experience, but I did feel overwhelmed with all the information and all the cameras and so on. But eventually I got used to it, and it actually did feel a lot safer overall. Now, here's the thing. If I went ahead and basically bought the 2017 model, back then they used to use, for example, like what is it called? I think P100D, and had like, for example, different battery sizes or whatever. So it's not like the standard, like for example, the plate and the performance and all this stuff. Not the good names. Back then there were different names with numbers and stuff like that. Okay, so if I bought the highest end one, 2017, the P100D, okay, back then in 2017, it cost around $141,200, and today I can find it for a whopping between $60,000 to $75,000, which means it discounts over $66,000. Now, overall, it gives me 300 miles of range, goes from 0 to 60 in around 3 seconds or so, and that is speed, that is performance. And inside, kind of the same thing. No real big difference overall, okay? Now, here's what I will say. Whenever I drive a Tesla, I do get range anxiety. I just feel that way. I feel like, what if this thing like leaves me somewhere? And where I currently live, it just doesn't really make that much sense, because, you know, in Puerto Rico, for example, we don't really have that many charging stations, you know, but I could always just charge it in my house. But if the power goes out, what do I do then, right? So it's like, it's just range anxiety overall, but Teslas are so great, okay? So it's a pretty good car, and to say I can actually buy it for like around 60K, it makes me pretty happy. Now, there is a second thing that kind of makes me worried, which is basically, tell me, what about the battery? You know, those batteries are very expensive to basically fix. And if it's like 6, 7 years old already, what's the actual life? Maybe like 10, 15 years or so. The answer is, it does not scare me that much, and here's why. Because if I save $60,000 to $70,000 from buying, for example, the new model, and the battery goes bad, I need to replace it, I'm not gonna pay $60K for a battery. They're like between $10,000 to $13,000 to $14,000, and that still puts me in high savings for this car. And I have a brand new battery, I can basically just go even longer and longer with it, okay? That's the overall idea. So I'm not that worried about it, but it is actually pretty awesome. And by the way, Tesla, their used cars are actually going down too, like in the used market, okay? So that's actually pretty much a good thing too, so awesome. By the way, the thing is with Tesla and their company overall, this is like finance talk for like a second here, is like, what happens if Tesla goes bankrupt and all the software involved into this company and the actual cars has so much software and so much stuff, like what happens then, okay? Because it's kind of weird. So that's just a question I'm kind of like pondering in my head. Now, number 4 is the car I actually wanted when I was in college, and that is the Porsche Cayenne, okay? This car is sexy and it is beautiful, and the one I saw, like that are right now, right? They have like the GT model, the standard model, and right now they go from $73,000 to around $114,000. These are expensive vehicles, like honestly. And I'm not into leasing, I'm not into financing, I'm into buying cash. So think about it. To spend $74,000 on a car, you need to be worth around $740,000 if you're going to use, for example, the 10% rule. It's a lot of money. But overall, what I realized is that the 2017 model has a lot of power. If you get, for example, the top trim, you still get a lot of performance. And back then, they cost between $60,000 to $98,000. And right now, if I look back to 2017, the car I saw when I was in college, like the actual body, the actual chassis has not changed that much. And that's actually awesome because I don't want to feel outdated. But overall, you're looking at around $40,000 for the Platinum Edition. That basically means like you get the top of the line, 0 to 60 like in like 4 something seconds, something like that. It means depreciation is pretty awesome overall, okay? Now, I may fulfill those college dreams and that may be my next car, but wait until the end of the video because I'm not fully done here. And, you know, Porsche, like they're very expensive to actually fix. They do have maintenance things to actually like, you know, cover, but overall it's such a great car. So you go from $114,000 all the way down to 40, and it's basically $15,000 less than the Tesla Model X. And then you got to say, well, do I rather spend $15,000 extra on a Tesla or just use that money for gas? Okay. I think I'd rather use that money for gas, right? So that's my overall perspective on that. Then you have number 5. The Mercedes GLC. Now these cars are known to be mechanical money makers. Basically, for mechanics, they love them because they're always breaking down. And one of the guys, by the way, I watch Throttle House all the time, and I also watch the guy, I think his name is like Steve, I think it is, but he's all over YouTube with like anything that has to do with cars. Guy's been around on YouTube for like 13 years. He's very old, has like a crazy like hairdo. You probably know who he is. Comment down below if you know who I'm talking about. But overall, he says mechanics, they love Mercedes because they're always basically breaking down and not that reliable, but it is a beautiful car. And the GLC right now goes for like around $60,000. The car is sexy and it's like a toxic girlfriend. You know, it's sexy, but it's not good for you, okay? Same thing with this car. It's not it's not good, but it does look good, okay? But the 2017 model, you can find it for like around $30,000 to $35,000, and that is an AMG edition. So again, $30,000 to $35,000, and it's basically like almost $20,000 less than the Porsche, and like $1,000 more less than, for example, the Tesla Model X. But again, repair cost is a massive thing. Gas is actually a massive thing. So you got to consider like, okay, I can get the car, but what is it actually going to cost me as far as the reliability? So that's also a big conversation. Now that is it, guys, okay? What I basically wanted to do was tell you depreciation is awesome. Being patient is awesome also, okay? So Tommy, overall, out of all of these cars, the 5 cars you mentioned, Bentley Bentayga, Lamborghini Urus, okay, the Porsche Cayenne, the Tesla Model X, okay, the Mercedes GLC class, okay, which one is the car for you? Well, I have it right here. I'm gonna tell it to you, okay, guys? The car I'm gonna buy next, most likely, okay, is going to be a Lexus R350. No one could guess it because it was not on my list, okay? And I'm gonna probably buy the 2017 model. And here's why. Because right now, they go between $48,000 to $63,000. If I buy this model, I can get it for like around $27,000. I don't care about the infotainment system because basically I can just basically get it upgraded and so on, get some better cameras or get, for example, the Apple CarPlay or whatever. But overall, it is such a solid vehicle built by Toyota. Lexus owns Toyota, by the way, and it's reliable and it does exactly what I want it to do, is basically drive, and I want to feel comfortable inside the car. So that is probably going to be my next car, and that is a $27,000 car. By the time I buy it, it might be even less, and they're reliable, so they kind of last a very long time. So where do I stand right now, guys? Okay, right now I have a Toyota Prius. It kind of sounds like I'm just dreaming about cars, okay? But it's not to say I don't have the money to buy these cars, but it's to say if I were to buy these cars, there would be financial disasters because overall they would cost me money, a lot of money overall, and they would steal a lot of potential value from me in the future. Like buying a $200,000 vehicle right now instead of, for example, $200K worth of properties and condos or whatever, just doesn't make any sense. It's just better to, for example, grab that money and basically buy some property, get some rental income, use that money to buy more rental properties and invest more into the stock market. That makes me money. And then eventually, when I have enough money that comes in, I can just basically buy those things, but I'm not buying it. Other people are basically buying it for me. That's a cool idea. So right now, the Lexus RX 350 is going to be probably my next ride. It costs $27,000. My Prius goes for around $12K. So I have to find somewhere like about, like, what is it, like 8 plus 7? That's $15,000 extra. And that's not really like that much of a crazy big deal when you compare it. Who's texting me? Sorry guys, when you compare it, for example, to 60,000 or 90,000 or 108,000. Eventually though, I will get one of those cars. When will it be? When the time is right. All right? Always use the 10% rule, and always remember what's first is first, and for me, what's first is financial independence. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified. Comment down below car so you made it all the way to the video, and also let me know exactly what is your favorite car. Okay? And look at your favorite car and look at the 5-year-old model and tell me, hey, Tommy, my favorite car is worth this much, the 2023 model or whatever this year is. And then you put, for example, but the 5-year-old version is worth this much. So this way you can see the difference, or the 6-year-old version or the 7-year-old version. Just look at the old version and see exactly how much they're worth, okay? So overall, I'll see you guys next time. Up here is another video. Over here is my Facebook, subscribe, and as always, long-term team officially out.